Jason JROCK Houston, and you're listening to Chaotic Riffs Magazine, and our special guest tonight is legendary guitarist Ross The Boss. Welcome to the show, Ross. How are you doing?
I'm fine, man. Greetings from beautiful Colorado Springs,
Colorado. Are you on tour right now, or?
Yes, we're on tour. We're in the midst of our 26 U.S. shows. We actually got tonight, Kansas City tomorrow.
Wow.
Brooklyn, New York on Sunday, and Philly on Monday, and that's it.
Oh, wow. And then I know you do have a European tour coming up in the next couple of weeks. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have one in April, pretty massive Europe tour.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, you've been around for years. A lot of people like me first came to know you when you were with Manowar, and like you said, you have a massive European tour coming. I was kind of curious. Is Ross The Boss, as far as the band, are you guys really popular? Like, would you say more so in Europe than you are here in the States?
A lot more popular.
Oh, yeah. And the reason I ask that is, like I said, you've been in the music business for many, many years, and I'm sure with the new Ross The Boss band, this is your fourth release. I'm sure there's actually people in your fan base who know nothing about what you did before. Are you kind of discovering that as you tour around the world?
Well, I mean, my solo records, we really haven't been touring that. I would say this record, Born of Fire, is going to get the most penetration in the United States ever.
Yeah, and I guess the cool thing about that is, like you said, you've now got 4 Ross The Boss records under your belt, so
correct.
It must be kind of the fact that you haven't got a chance to play a lot out live. You're finally going to get a chance to play live, and how do you go about picking a live set? You got 4 albums worth of material.
Well, the most important album now is Born of Fire. We will play maybe a song or two off by Bloodsworn, and of course the Manowar classics, which people want to hear. So we're going to have a good blend on the new tour. Okay. The most important thing is the new record, though.
Yeah. And as far as you got like 4 albums under your belt now, as we say, and it's kind of interesting because while you're 4 albums into the Ross The Boss band, you keep putting like a new album out almost every year. You're very you get these albums recorded very quickly.
Yeah, we know. We put out a lot of music. I think the most important thing is the quality.
Yeah.
And that's it was only a year after by Bloodsworn when the label went, listen, if you want to tour in 2020, you got to come up with a new record. I go, what?
Yeah.
I mean, another record. I said, oh Jesus.
I can't complain there. I got to tip my hat to you, Ross, because the simple fact, there are a lot of bands. I mean, we'll just to name one, for example, Guns N' Roses, they release an album, maybe every 20 years or so. So I really dig when new bands or bands that have been around even for a while continue to put out new music for their fans, because it's still giving the fans something new to check out rather than just kind of living on your past glories.
Now listen, as far as I'm concerned, if you stay the same.
Yeah.
If you stay the status quo, you're going backwards.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I would say I'm not going to do another record and I'm just going to tour on the old shit, I said you're going backwards. You're not moving forward in the realm of music. I'm saying we're a band full of, I mean, you hear our new record, right?
I've heard a few cuts of it. I haven't had a chance to hear the whole thing, but it's just anybody that's into metal, it's monstrous. I mean, I really recommend people check it out.
I mean, we've made a quantum leap. I mean, it's the second. We've been together. This lineup has been together 2 years.
Wow.
With Steve Bolognese on drums, and he played on the record. The band is much more mature. The songwriting has matured. The production is unbelievable. Steve Lieberman of Orden O'Gain produced it, and I think it's as good as anything Andy Steve can do. So so far it's been killing. I mean, Ride by the Cross is killing on YouTube right now. It's really doing well. So we're really excited. and we're looking forward to the future.
And
all you're going to get from us is hard work. So
yeah, and now in the press release your publicist sent me, it said something about you guys recorded this new album like kind of a different way in the fact that you went in and kind of demoed everything first, and that made a huge difference. Talk a little bit about that process.
Well, the last record we did, we kind of mushed everything out, mashed everything out in the rehearsal room, and this one we didn't have the time to do that, or everyone wasn't in the same location.
Okay.
So Mike LaPond and I, we did demos. And we arranged the demos as we heard them.
Yeah.
And then we put drum machine.
Yeah.
That's the only time we'd ever use a drum machine. We got a decent, just kick and snare, nothing too complex. Then we went into the studio, and then Steve cut his drums to our demos.
Yeah.
And Mark had 4 songs. Mike had 4 songs. We had 12 songs. So we cut it to our demo. We cut the drums to our demos, and we built from the ground up. And so I think the results have been fantastic. It's unbelievable.
And
amazing.
And I think that's what makes this band so strong is the fact that, first of all, being that it is a Ross the Boss band, you could go in and just say, it's my band, I'm going to write everything. But I dig the fact that you collaborate with other band members and you allow them kind of to bring their influence into that. That's got to make it much more, better.
No, this is not an ego trip. A picked out guitar ego trip.
Yeah.
This is a real band, and the guitar player is a part of the band. The band bears the guitar player's name.
Yeah.
But I'm not a freaking shredder guy that just I'm a rock and roll blues guitar player, rock and roll guitar player, and that's just the way I am. And I'm a team player, and I don't fucking care about anything else.
Well, see,
that's why we're so good.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the thing is, it really is like a band in the sense that, like I said, it's not just a guitar player shredding on everything. It's you play, and when you do solo, it fits the song, and
yes. Not a note extra.
Yeah.
Because my idol is B.B. King, and he's the greatest guitar player ever lived, in my estimation.
See, I know.
He says more with 3 notes than half these morons play with 1,000. So.
Now that's kind of interesting because the fact that you be influenced by a blues guy like B.B. King, when most people think of you as kind of a metal guy.
Yeah, well, coming up, that's how I started. I do have my come on, I do guys like Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton, and guys like that are extremely influential on me. But the early Blue Oyster Cult, stuff like that. Mike Bloomfield, Elvin Bishop, guys like that.
Yeah, Blue Oyster Cult. They're all one of my all-time favorite bands. I mean, they've been around for years. They're still kind of putting out new music, and you got to love the fact that they're still doing what they do, and I mean, they're kind of very under.
Blue Oyster Cult is doing fantastically good right now.
Yeah. They recently recorded they did a remake of one of their albums, like kind of a live concert. That's coming out, I think, same day as your album. So if you're a Blue Oyster Cult fan, you want to check that out.
Yes, they're doing great. Buck and Eric are good friends of mine, and the manager Steve Shank are very, very old friends of mine, and I wish them all the best.
Yeah. Well, that's now. Of course, like we're saying, Ross, a lot of people know you from your Man-O-War days, and I dig the fact, kind of like you're saying, there are a lot of guys who kind of just live on their past glories, and when you formed this band, you could have said, I'm going to do another band that sounds just kind of like Man-O-War, but what's the point of doing that? You've already done that. This is where you are now. This is kind of what you're doing. I think it's cool that you.
Correct. I have no need to play another. I'm not going to make another Man-O-War.
Yeah.
Man-O-War's Man-O-War. No one's copying that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just impossible.
Yeah.
So. Also, I have people coming up to me, Dictator fans, fans of all my other bands and the Shaker Street, and the Dictators were 1 year ahead of the Ramones.
Wow.
Okay,
wow.
In the formation of American punk,
wow.
And our first record is hanging in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
all that goes into what made me. So.
And also like one of your other bandmates, who's a good friend of mine, who I've interviewed many times over here, Sean Peck. You also got a band with him, Death Dealer. Is that band on hiatus? Do you guys have any new music you've been working?
No, we have a third record all recorded. It's ready. It's ready to be put out.
Oh.
The third Death Dealer is ready to go. I think Sean is just deciding how we're going to put it out, either on his really good label, Steel Cartel, or we have like 4 or 5 offers from other labels.
Wow.
So we have to make that. Sean's going to make that decision very soon.
And I'm sure you've had a chance to check out his Three Tremors project. That's a really cool thing.
Three Tremors, of course.
And that's just taken off. It's amazing how they've taken off. I love what they're all about. Yeah,
that's great. I'm very happy for him. You know, he works hard. He puts his money where his mouth is. He don't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
And you know, Sean Peck is great. So we're gonna. We can't wait till the third record comes out. And by the way, Stu Marshall, the other Death Dealer guitar player, wrote a song for my record.
Oh.
It's called Maiden of Shadows.
Okay.
And the video's going to come out, I think, this week. But Maiden of Shadows, one of the best songs on my record.
Oh, cool.
And Stu played half the solo, I played the other half. Wait till you hear Maiden of Shadows. Wait till you hear that one.
Wow. And
you're gonna blow your mind.
And you said there's a video, or have you made it yet, or you're planning to make it?
Right now, our video's out, Denied by the Cross.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of going a little bit viral on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's been 5 days, and we've got like a shitload of fucking hits on it.
And now, you know, obviously the music industry is very different than it was back in the days of Manowar. I mean, back in those days, a band would have to kind of make an album to even go out there and tour. It's almost, a lot of bands, like we said, aren't even doing that. So what do you think of the process? Like, you know, you put out a video on YouTube and the fans check it out before the album even gets to come out.
Well, you know, listen, there's like a whole plan. You put your lyric video out, and then you do a regular video. But like these labels they're not giving you high budgets for videos.
Yeah.
Now, in case of AFM, my 4th record on AFM, they're not gonna go in from a big budget video until this record starts selling. Yeah. And if they see if it's really selling, you know, the last one went into the German charts pretty high, and it was very good. They kind of, you know, but this one we're expecting it to be better. So if this one starts to really sell, they promise to do a video.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So you know, but they're not labels are not dumping money into bands anymore.
Yeah. Like
the old days.
Yeah.
You know, so.
You know, in one of our previous chats, when I had a chance to interview with Ross, you had mentioned to me what a huge baseball fan you were, and I was kind of curious with the controversy going on with the Astros, how they allegedly cheated. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, baseball. I'm in the baseball business because I own a batting cage in New York City.
Wow.
It's 10,000 square feet. We've had it for 16 years. It's called the Cage Baseball, and we have 130 players. We have 130 Cage Warrior travel ball players.
Oh, wow.
Probably one of the biggest organizations in New York City, a travel ball. Now, we teach honesty and integrity in baseball.
Yeah.
The Astros cheated.
Yeah.
They actually cheated. They were stealing signs. Now, do I think that all the teams do that?
No.
Probably so. Probably so.
Yeah,
but they got caught.
They got caught. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They got caught. So they can go fuck themselves. Really. And it's a blight on baseball, and it's a horrible example for the kids. Terrible.
Wow, that's cool. I didn't know I wasn't aware you own that caging thing. That's cool. Wow.
Right. That's my other business. That's Ross the Boss is other business. Is baseball, softball, and we do cricket at my facility too.
And I was curious, Ross, when you were coming up as a guitar player, would you consider yourself like a self-taught player? Did you actually take lessons from other people?
No, I'm basically self-taught.
And I think there's a certain thing with that, because a lot of times when you're self-taught, would you agree that you're kind of when you're playing, you play more from the heart? Because a lot of people, when they take lessons, are kind of maybe more cerebral about. Well, that's
no. I play all from the heart. It's all from my heart.
Yeah.
From my hands and my brain. It's just that's how I play. Every single solo I've ever played, it's from the heart, and I'm an emotional player.
Yeah.
And I that's just the way I am. I mean, I'm not a studied school guy that has to include all these bullshit scales in my solo.
Yeah, that's the point I was making.
It has to be like this, and it has to be like that. And
yeah.
No, if the solo calls for 10 notes, the solo gets 10 notes.
Yeah.
If the solo calls for 1,000 notes, it gets 1,000 notes. Not one less, not one more.
Yeah, and I'm asking this because I'm, like I said, I'm a fan as well of everything you've done. I'm not much of a musician, so I was kind of curious, like when you go in and record an album, like. How do you know, like, okay, I'm going to use this guitar on this track? Is it just kind of what you have available, or?
What's that? Can you repeat that, sir?
Well, like, I was curious, like, when you go and record an album, how do you go about picking, like, okay, I'm going to use this guitar on this track?
Listen, whatever, the gear, I think, whatever's sounding good, I don't overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
I have to use a zillion guitars on this and that because I think it all winds up sounding basically the same. I don't use any effects on my guitars. I just plug straight into the amp. Sometimes they put a little effect on the, my solos, whatever it is.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Now, late last year, didn't you do some shows? I think I read about with KK Downing as your special guest.
Yeah, KK Downing from Judas Priest joined us at Bloodstock. He played the Bloodstock Festival in the Midlands of England and this summer. And KK Downing played 4 songs with the Ross The Boss band. He played 4 Judas Priest songs. It was the first time he had played in 10 years.
Yeah.
And it was probably the first different band he ever played with. Besides Judas Priest.
And obviously, I'm sure you're a fan, but I was curious, how did those shows kind of come together? Was it a matter that he reached out to you, or did you reach out to his camp? Or?
Well, we had a friend. I had a friend that knew him, and then he's like, the festival's right by where he lives. So I said, why don't you invite KK down for beer? And then he goes, okay. I said, well, why don't you just invite KK if he wants to jam? So it got to be that, said, I think. Then wow, KK Downing, the first time in 10 years to play with us.
Yeah, and like you said,
what's better? What's better to play in front of his home crowd?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
And
so KK's back.
Yeah.
KK's back, and it's great. He's going to have a band with Ripper. And, I'm very happy about that.
What a major honor, like you said. I mean, it's it's first time he stepped foot on stage since he left Priest with anybody. That's got to be the ultimate honor,
It's a true honor, and we practiced 2 days at KK's club. It's called the KK Steel Mill, KK Downing Steel Mill. We practiced there, and we had a great show. So it was a great day at Bloodstock Festival.
And talking a little bit about Judas Priest, I'm a huge fan of everything they've ever done, as you are, I'm sure. And I got to ask, obviously they got railed again by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, can you believe that?
Well, fuck the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We now have the Metal Hall of Fame, which I was inducted on in the first year.
Yeah.
We called it the Hall of Heavy Metal History, but we changed the name. It's called the Metal Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And it's in its 4th year, and Priest is in. A lot of people are in that deserve to be in.
And the cool thing about
heavy metal, we have a Hall of Fame now, and it's called the Metal Hall of Fame. Fuck the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They can go fucking die fiery death.
And the cool thing about the Metal Hall of Fame, I actually got to attend the first one they had, and they had, I think, Rudy Sarzakarma. And since then, they've had
that was my class. That was my year.
Yeah.
2017. Yeah.
And they had. Yeah. They've had Steve Piercy and
I was saying to myself, is this going to work? Is this going to go? Is this going to go? And it did go. And I was so honored to be in the first class. And so now it's just a real thing. It's bigger now. They have to get a bigger venue. They gotta. It's so cool, and so I'm really honored. I'm so honored. And Pat Gesualdo, who's the proprietor of the Metal Hall of Fame, is a dear friend of mine, and we kind of done this together, and it's so cool.
And I think what makes that so much
Hall of Fame now.
And I think what makes the Metal Hall of Fame so much cooler than something like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is it's put together by a guy that, like you said, he's a true metalhead, a true fan, and unlike the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they care nothing about necessarily how many albums a band has sold or oh, you have to be around this number of years.
Yeah, right. It's a popularity contest.
Yeah.
You know. But so the Metal Hall, what's so cool about it is it involves promoters.
Yeah.
You can venues, promoters, journalists, everybody that has put their whole lives into heavy metal and rock and roll. They deserve to be in, not just the musicians.
Yeah.
So that's what's cool about the Hall of Fame, the Metal Hall of Fame.
Now, do you know how you got inducted? As far as is there a committee where like a group of people, nominate different bands or different musicians, or how does that work as far as the metal?
Well, I think there's a couple of people that they're going to vote. So it's, we know who's going to get in next year.
Oh, that's cool. And being that you're kind of...
But I didn't know that I was getting in, so I nearly had a heart attack when they told me. So
and how cool, like you said, you were inducted the very first time they did it, and as being somebody that's been inducted, do you get to take part in who gets voted in the future or anything like that?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick my 2 cents into it next year.
Oh, how cool is that, Ross? And
right. What it is an honor to be in the Metal Hall of Fame. And that's what it is.
And the final word on the Metal Hall, I say this: what makes it so much cooler is, like I said, you're a guitar player. You've been doing this for years, and it's very sad that you don't see Ross the Boss on the cover of Guitar World magazines. But what an honor for first time with Metal Fame. You're getting recognized. A guy like you that doesn't really get the accolades he deserves.
No, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And well, I guess that's about it for now. And so I just want to wish you all the luck with the new album, Ross, when it comes out, and then maybe when I get a chance to hear the entire album, we could do a follow-up interview down the line. I'd like to talk specifically.
Definitely do a follow-up once you hear it, and you're going to tell me I wasn't full of shit.
No,
so
and the last question on that is people always say, hey, my latest album is my is the best one, but like these songs.
This one could be the best one.
Now the songs on the new album are these like really freshly, newly written tunes, or any of them been laying?
They're all new. They're all new tunes.
Oh, cool. And when you write these tunes, does it usually start with a riff, or what's the process?
Yeah, we started with the riffs, and then we worked up the arrangements, Mike and I, and everybody, as I said, Stu contributed a song, and Mark contributed 4 songs. So we built it. We have 12 songs.
Okay, well, thanks again so much, Ross, for taking time to talk to me today. I really appreciate it.
All right, my brother.
The interview is probably going up in about a week. I'll let you know once it goes up, okay?
Okay, kid. Thank you so much.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.